Welcome, dear traveler, to a peaceful journey through time and mystery. Tonight, we'll drift together through the mists of history, visiting 20 ancient civilizations that once flourished, then faded into legend. Allow yourself to settle comfortably, feeling your body sink deeper into your resting place. Let your shoulders drop, release any tension you've been carrying, and simply breathe. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, hold it gently for just a moment, and exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel yourself becoming more relaxed with each breath, more peaceful, more ready to embark on this dreamy voyage. Tonight, we'll wander through lost worlds that existed thousands of years ago, civilizations that built magnificent temples under starlit skies, that developed wisdom we're still discovering today, and that lived in harmony with the natural rhythms of the earth. We'll visit the mysterious Minoans of ancient Crete, floating through their peaceful palaces. We'll drift to the legendary Atlantis, imagining its crystal-clear waters and gleaming towers. We'll explore the advanced Indus Valley civilization, with their perfectly planned cities and sophisticated culture. Our journey will carry us to the enigmatic Olmecs, the master builders of Easter Island, the sophisticated Khmer Empire, and so many more forgotten realms. Each civilization a gentle story, each culture a soothing chapter in humanity's long, peaceful dream. You don't need to remember every detail. Just allow the images and sensations to wash over you like warm, gentle waves. Let your mind become soft and receptive, like morning mist settling over ancient ruins. Feel your breathing naturally slow and deepen, your eyelids growing heavier, your thoughts becoming quieter, more distant, as we prepare to step back through the corridors of time. These lost civilizations await us. Their secrets ready to unfold like flower petals in moonlight, their stories ready to carry you into the most restful sleep. Breathe deeply, and let the journey begin. Chapter 1. Göbekli Tepe. The temple before time. We begin our journey in the rolling hills of southeastern Turkey, where nearly 12,000 years ago, long before Stonehenge, long before the pyramids, ancient people created something extraordinary. Breathe gently as we drift back to this sacred place. Feel yourself floating above the Anatolian landscape, where golden grasslands stretch endlessly under a vast, star-filled sky. The air is cool and clean, carrying the scent of wild herbs and earth. Here, hunter-gatherers who had never farmed, who had never built permanent cities, somehow found the vision and determination to create the world's first temple complex. Imagine their reverence, their deep connection to something greater than themselves. As you settle deeper into relaxation, picture the massive stone pillars rising from the earth like sleeping giants. Each pillar carved from limestone, some reaching 18 feet tall, weighing up to 16 tons. Smooth your breathing as you marvel at these ancient accomplishments. The pillars stand in perfect circles, their surfaces decorated with intricate carvings. Feel the coolness of the stone beneath your fingertips as you trace the images of lions, foxes, wild boars, and mysterious symbols whose meanings drift like whispers through time. Notice the craftsmanship, the careful attention to detail. These ancient artisans worked with simple stone tools, yet created sculptures of breathtaking beauty. Lions prowling eternally across the limestone, birds frozen in graceful flight, serpents coiled in endless, peaceful slumber. Let yourself feel the profound silence that surrounds this sacred space. For thousands of years, ceremonies took place here under countless moonlit nights. People gathered in reverence, sharing rituals we can only imagine, their voices echoing softly between the pillars. The most mysterious aspect of Göbekli Tepe is that after 1,000 years of use, the entire complex was deliberately buried. Covered with tons of earth, as if the ancient builders decided their sacred work was complete. Their temple hidden, waiting patiently beneath the soil for modern archaeology to rediscover it. Feel that same patient energy now, the wisdom of knowing when to rest, when to let something beautiful sleep peacefully, protected and preserved. Breathe slowly, and let the ancient peace of this temple carry you forward, as we prepare to visit our next lost civilization. Chapter 2. Tartessos. The kingdom that burned itself. Our journey now carries us westward, to the sun-drenched shores of ancient Iberia, where the Guadalquivir River meets the Atlantic Ocean. Here, between the 8th and 5th centuries BCE, flourished the mysterious kingdom of Tartessos. Let your breathing slow and deepen, as we drift toward this legendary realm. Feel the warm Mediterranean breeze on your skin, carrying the scent of olive groves and wild rosemary. The golden light of evening settles gently over rolling hills dotted with cork oak trees. Tartessos was a kingdom of incredible wealth, built on rivers of silver, literally. The Tartessians discovered vast silver deposits in their mountains, and their skilled metalworkers created the finest jewelry and ornaments in the ancient world. Imagine the soft gleam of silver catching firelight, delicate bracelets and torques that seemed to flow like liquid moonlight. Picture the peaceful harbors where Phoenician merchants arrived, their ships heavy with purple dyes and exotic goods. The Tartessians welcomed these traders with open arms, learning their alphabet, adapting their writing system, creating a unique culture that blended local traditions with influences from across the Mediterranean. Feel yourself walking through their settlements, past workshops where artisans hammered intricate patterns into bronze mirrors, where potters shaped elegant vessels decorated with geometric designs. The sound of their work creates a gentle, rhythmic melody, hammer on metal, wheel spinning clay, voices calling softly across courtyards. The Tartessians lived in harmony with their landscape. They were skilled farmers who cultivated wheat and barley in fertile river valleys. They raised cattle and sheep on hillside pastures. They gathered salt from coastal marshes where flamingos stood like pink sentinels in the shallow waters. Their society was remarkably peaceful. Archaeological evidence shows little sign of warfare or fortification. Instead, their settlements reveal a people focused on trade, craftsmanship, and celebration. Imagine their festivals under star-filled skies, music drifting across the water, families gathering to share the abundance of their prosperous land. But perhaps most mysteriously, around the 5th century BCE, Tartessos simply vanished. Some believe they deliberately destroyed their own settlements, burning their cities and scattering to avoid conquest. Others think they sailed away entirely, disappearing into the vast Atlantic like a dream dissolving at dawn. This act of self-preservation through disappearance carries its own quiet wisdom. Sometimes the most beautiful things preserve themselves by retreating, by choosing mystery over conquest, by becoming legend rather than ruin. Let that peaceful dissolution wash over you now, like waves erasing footprints in sand. Breathe slowly, and feel yourself drifting toward our next ancient destination. Chapter 3. Sumer. Where civilization began, we drift now across time and space, to the Fertile Crescent between two great rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates. Here, around 4500 BCE, in the land called Sumer, humanity took its first steps toward civilization. Feel yourself floating gently over these ancient floodplains, where the very concept of cities was born. Let your breath flow as naturally as these two mighty rivers, carrying life and abundance across the landscape. The air is warm and humid, filled with the rich scent of river silt and growing grain. Date palms sway softly along the water's edge, their fronds whispering ancient secrets. Picture the world's first cities rising from the marshlands. Uruk, Eridu, each built around magnificent ziggurats that reach toward the heavens like earthen mountains. These stepped temples climb skyward in perfect, peaceful symmetry, their mud brick walls glowing golden in the eternal twilight of memory. Feel the revolutionary moment when the Sumerians first pressed wedge-shaped marks into soft clay tablets, creating cuneiform, the world's first writing system. Imagine the quiet concentration of scribes, their reed styluses moving carefully across the clay, recording harvests, telling stories, preserving laws, capturing human thoughts for all eternity. Breathe deeply as you wander through Sumerian streets, past workshops where potters shape clay on the world's first spinning wheels. The gentle rhythm of the wheel turning, hands guiding wet clay into perfect vessels, creates a meditation on creation itself. Watch as bowls and jars take shape, functional beauty born from earth and water. The Sumerians gave us so many gifts that we still use today. They divided the circle into 360 degrees, created the 60-minute hour, established the 7-day week. Feel the timeless wisdom in these measurements, the way they organized human experience around natural rhythms and celestial movements. In their peaceful gardens, they cultivate the world's first schools, where children learn mathematics, literature, and astronomy. Young voices recite multiplication tables that echo across millennia. The same ers we whisper today, connecting us in an unbroken chain of learning and wonder. Their epic tales drift through the evening air, stories of Gilgamesh seeking immortality, of Inanna descending to the underworld. These narratives flow like the great rivers themselves, carrying universal truths about friendship, love, loss, and the eternal human search for meaning. Picture the Sumerian night sky, unmarked by city lights, where priest astronomers chart the movements of planets and stars. They identify constellations we still recognize, map the zodiac, calculate eclipses with stunning accuracy. Their observations written carefully on clay tablets, preserved in temple libraries. The irrigation canals they dug still whisper with flowing water, carrying life to barley fields and date groves. This mastery of agriculture allowed humanity to settle, to build, to dream beyond daily survival. Feel that same abundance flowing through you now, the security that comes from having enough, from being part of something larger. Let the gentle innovations of Sumer wash over you like warm river water, writing and wheels, cities and schools, mathematics and music. All flowing together in humanity's first great awakening. Breathe slowly, and let these foundational gifts carry you deeper into peaceful rest, as we prepare to visit our next ancient wonder. Chapter 4. The Indus Valley. Cities of perfect order. We journey now to the banks of the mighty Indus River, where between 3300 and 1300 BCE, one of history's most remarkable civilizations flourished in perfect harmony. Feel yourself drifting over the vast river valley, where monsoon rains nurture endless fields of wheat and barley. The landscape stretches peacefully toward distant mountains. Let your breathing settle into the same rhythm as this ancient land. Steady and serene, the air carries the gentle fragrance of jasmine and the earthy scent of fertile soil. Peacocks call softly from banyan trees, their voices echoing across terraced gardens and orderly streets. Picture the magnificent cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, marvels of urban planning that would not be matched for thousands of years. Every street laid out in perfect grid patterns, every building constructed with standardized bricks. Feel the profound sense of order and cooperation that created these harmonious spaces. Walk slowly through these peaceful avenues. Notice how every home, from the grandest mansion to the simplest dwelling, connects to an advanced drainage system. Private bathrooms with running water, covered sewers that channel waste away from living areas. This civilization mastered sanitation with a sophistication that speaks of deep care for public health. Breathe in the tranquil atmosphere of the Great Bath at Mohenjo-Daro. This perfectly sealed pool, lined with precisely fitted bricks and natural tar, reflects the sky like a mirror. Imagine the gentle ceremonies that took place here, ritual cleansing under starlight, the soft splash of water carrying away the day's concerns. The Indus Valley people lived without kings or palaces, without massive temples or monuments to individual power. Instead, their greatest achievements were collective, shared prosperity, clean cities, fair distribution of resources. Feel the wisdom in this approach, strength through cooperation rather than domination. Their artisans created objects of subtle beauty, delicate seals carved with mysterious symbols and graceful animals. The famous dancing girl bronze, captured mid-movement with such lifelike grace she seems ready to step into motion. Jewelry of gold and carnelian that catches light like captured sunshine. Picture their busy harbors at Lothal, where ships arrived from distant Mesopotamia and Persia. The world's first known dock, with precise measurements for tides and seasons. Merchants trading peacefully, goods flowing like water between civilizations, copper and cotton, beads and precious stones, all exchanged with fairness and mutual respect. The Indus script remains beautifully undeciphered, hundreds of symbols that dance across seals and pottery like frozen music. Perhaps they contain administrative records, perhaps sacred poetry, perhaps both. Their silence adds to the mystery, allowing us to imagine a people who valued privacy, who kept their deepest thoughts sacred. Their cities show no signs of warfare, no weapons caches, no defensive walls. For nearly 2,000 years, they lived in remarkable peace, sustained by abundant harvests, protected by cooperation, thriving through trade and innovation. Feel that same spirit of peaceful abundance settling over you now. Even their decline seems gentle, a gradual retreat as the great river shifted its course. Climate change making agriculture difficult, people slowly migrating, leaving their perfect cities empty but undestroyed. Like a meditation ending naturally, returning to silence without violence or trauma. Let the orderly peace of the Indus Valley flow through you. Organized without oppression, prosperous without greed, advanced without arrogance. Breathe slowly, and feel yourself carried by the great river's current, toward our next ancient destination. Chapter 5. The hidden cities of the Amazon. We drift now into the emerald heart of South America, where the mighty Amazon River winds through endless rainforest. Here, hidden beneath centuries of jungle growth, archaeologists have recently discovered sophisticated cities that challenge everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations. Feel yourself floating gently above the canopy, where mist rises like breath from the living forest. Let your breathing synchronize with the rhythm of the rainforest, deep and slow like the ancient trees. The air is thick with moisture and life, carrying the sweet grants of orchids and the rich earthiness of decomposing leaves. Somewhere in the distance, a jaguar moves silently through dappled shadows. Picture these remarkable settlements, built between 500 and 1500 CE, sprawling across the Ecuadorian Amazon in perfect harmony with the forest. Unlike cities that conquered nature, these communities worked with the jungle, creating raised platforms and terraces that followed the natural contours of the land. Feel the wisdom in this approach. Civilization is partnership rather than domination. Walk slowly along their elevated walkways, constructed from carefully arranged earth and stone. These pathways connect residential areas, ceremonial plazas, and agricultural terraces in a network spanning hundreds of square miles. Imagine families moving peacefully between neighborhoods, their footsteps soft on pathways that have supported countless generations. Breathe in the ingenious agriculture that sustained these forest cities. The people created forest gardens, cultivating over 200 species of plants in carefully managed groves. Cacao trees providing chocolate, Brazil nut trees offering protein, palm trees yielding oil and fiber. This wasn't farming as we know it, but a sophisticated partnership with the forest's natural abundance. Picture their magnificent earthworks, geometric patterns and ceremonial mounds that can only be fully appreciated from above. Squares and circles and complex star shapes, created by moving millions of cubic feet of soil. These weren't built through forced labor, but through community cooperation, generations working together to honor the earth and sky. Feel yourself in one of their peaceful plazas, surrounded by the gentle sounds of forest life. Children playing games passed down through countless generations. Elders sharing stories while working with medicinal plants. The soft percussion of rain on broad leaves creating nature's own lullaby. Their houses rise on stilts above the forest floor, allowing air to circulate and water to flow naturally beneath. Walls woven from palm fronds. Roofs thatched with leaves that shed rain like the forest canopy itself. Everything designed to breathe with the rhythms of wet and dry seasons. The Amazon people developed remarkable knowledge of plants and chemistry. They created hundreds of medicines from forest ingredients, knew which leaves could heal fever, which roots could ease pain, which seeds could purify water. This wisdom flowed through generations like the river itself, healing knowledge preserved in memory and practice. Their pottery shows exquisite artistry, vessels decorated with jaguars and serpents, birds and geometric patterns that mirror the forest's infinite complexity. Each piece fired in kilns that used the forest's own fuel, clay transformed by fire into objects of practical beauty. What makes these cities most remarkable is how completely they integrated with their environment. From above, they're nearly invisible, hidden beneath the forest canopy they never tried to clear. Their inhabitants lived as part of the ecosystem, taking what they needed while ensuring the forest remained intact. When European diseases arrived in the 16th century, these sophisticated societies gradually faded. The forest reclaimed their structures, vines growing over walkways, trees rising through plazas. Until recently, the jungle kept their secrets, protecting their memory in green silence. Let the forest's patient wisdom settle over you now, the knowledge that true civilization means living in harmony with the natural world, taking only what you need, giving back more than you take. Breathe slowly, and feel the forest's peaceful embrace, as we prepare to journey toward our next hidden wonder. Chapter 6. Thonis Heraclean, the sunken gateway. We glide now toward the Mediterranean coast of Egypt, where the mighty Nile River once met the sea through many channels. Here, beneath 30 feet of peaceful water, lies the magnificent lost city of Thonis Heraclean. For over 1,000 years, this was Egypt's most important port, welcoming ships from across the ancient world. Feel yourself descending gently through the blue depths, where time moves as slowly as underwater currents. Let your breathing flow like the ancient Nile, steady and nourishing. The water around you is crystal clear, filtered sunlight dancing in golden beams through the depths. Schools of colorful fish drift past like living jewels, their movements creating gentle ripples in the eternal stillness. Picture this extraordinary city at the height of its glory, between the 8th century BCE and the 8th century CE. Massive temple complexes rising from island foundations, connected by canals and waterways that sparkled like liquid silver. Ships from Greece, Phoenicia, and distant lands arriving daily, their sails billowing in Mediterranean breezes. Walk through the grand temple of Amun-Jarib, where colossal statues once stood guard over sacred ceremonies. These magnificent figures, carved from pink granite, now rest peacefully on the seafloor, covered in soft marine growth, fish swimming through spaces where priests once chanted ancient prayers. Feel the serene transformation, from sacred air to sacred water. Breathe in the mystical atmosphere of this underwater realm. Massive stone blocks rest where they fell, creating artificial reefs that teem with life. Golden jewelry and precious amulets lie scattered like offerings, emerald waters protecting treasures that once adorned pharaohs and wealthy merchants. Everything preserved in the sea's gentle embrace. The harbor areas reveal sophisticated maritime technology. Perfectly preserved ship hulls show advanced construction techniques. Bronze anchors rest beside lead ingots. Amphorae that once held wine and olive oil now shelter seahorses and small crabs. The tools of ancient commerce transformed into habitats for marine life. Picture the religious festivals that once took place here. The mysteries of Osiris, celebrated annually with great processions. Sacred barges carrying statues of gods through temple courtyards. The sound of sistrum rattles and ritual chants echoing across the water. Now those same spaces host the quiet ballet of underwater creatures. Feel yourself exploring the residential quarters, where merchants and sailors once lived. Stone foundations mark the outlines of houses and shops. Ceramic vessels and bronze mirrors rest where families once gathered for evening meals. Children's toys, gaming pieces, personal ornaments, all speak of lives fully lived, of happiness and prosperity frozen in time. The city's downfall came gradually, as earthquakes and floods slowly claimed the land. Rather than fight the rising waters, the inhabitants gradually relocated, allowing the Mediterranean to reclaim their beloved city. Like a peaceful surrender, architecture returning to the elements from which it came. Ancient texts speak of Thonis Heracleion as the place where Hercules first set foot in Egypt, where Helen of Troy and Paris took refuge before the Trojan War. These legends now rest beneath the waves, myths and reality blending in the timeless underwater realm. Archaeologists working here move like slow-motion dancers, their every gesture deliberate and reverent. Lifting artifacts with infinite care, mapping ruins with patient precision. The underwater environment has preserved wood, leather, and organic materials that would have vanished on land. The sea proving a better guardian than air. Massive temple pylons lie toppled but intact, their hieroglyphs still clearly readable after 15 centuries underwater. Fish swim through doorways where pharaohs once processed. Coral grows on altars where incense once burned. The transformation is complete yet somehow appropriate, sacred space remaining sacred, just in a different element. Let the peaceful depths of Thonis Heracleion embrace you now. Feel the gentle rocking motion of underwater currents, the way the sea cradles and protects, transforms and preserves. Everything moving in slow motion, everything touched by the healing properties of salt water. Breathe slowly, and let yourself sink deeper into tranquil rest, as we prepare to surface toward our next ancient wonder. Chapter 7. Petra. The rose-red city. We journey now across the vast Arabian desert, to the hidden valleys of southern Jordan, where the ingenious Nabateans carved one of the world's most breathtaking cities directly into living rock. Feel yourself approaching through the narrow canyon called the Sick, walls of rose-colored sandstone rising hundreds of feet above, creating a natural corridor into this secret realm. Let your breathing echo softly off the canyon walls, slow and reverent. The air is dry and clean, carrying the faint scent of desert sage and ancient stone. Your footsteps whisper against smooth rock worn by countless pilgrims and traders. The silence here is profound, broken only by the gentle call of desert larks. Picture the moment when you emerge from the Sick, and the treasury facade appears before you, carved with impossible precision into the cliff face. Columns and pediments flowing like frozen music from the pink sandstone. This isn't built architecture, but sculpted architecture, removed from solid rock with infinite patience and skill. Walk slowly through the street of facades, where hundreds of tombs and temples bloom from the canyon walls like stone flowers. The Nabateans worked from top to bottom, master craftsmen suspended on ropes, chiseling elaborate doorways and chambers grain by grain. Feel the meditative rhythm of their work, stone dust falling like gentle rain. Breathe in the engineering marvel that made Petra possible. In this harsh desert landscape, the Nabateans became masters of water. They carved channels and cisterns, pipes and pools, capturing every precious drop of rainfall, storing it in underground chambers carved from solid rock. Water flowing invisibly through the city, life sustained by invisible streams. Picture the bustling markets that once filled these carved spaces. Merchants from India bringing precious spices. Chinese traders carrying silk. Roman buyers seeking frankincense and myrrh. The Nabateans controlled the incense trade routes, their desert kingdom growing wealthy from the perfumed smoke that rose in temples across the ancient world. Feel yourself climbing toward the monastery, the largest of Petra's carved facades. This journey requires patience, stone steps winding up the mountainside, each turn revealing new vistas of carved cliffs and natural beauty. The building itself seems to emerge from the mountain's dreams, architecture and geology becoming one. The Nabateans lived in harmony with their harsh environment. They were nomads who learned to build, engineers who became artists, desert dwellers who created gardens. Their painted pottery shows influences from across the known world. Greek motifs blending with Arabian designs. Roman techniques adapted to desert life. In the cool chambers carved deep into the rock, families gathered for evening meals. The temperature remains constant year-round, natural air conditioning provided by the thermal mass of stone. Children played in courtyards open to the sky, their laughter echoing between carved walls painted with geometric patterns and flowing vines. Picture the religious ceremonies held in the high place of sacrifice, reached by climbing ancient steps carved into the mountain. Here, priests performed rituals while eagles soared overhead. The altar remains, surrounded by views of endless desert, a place where earth meets sky in perfect communion. The Nabateans developed their own elegant script, flowing letters that seemed to dance across stone inscriptions. They wrote poetry on tomb walls, carved dedications to their gods, recorded the names of travelers who found refuge in their rose-red sanctuary. Each inscription a voice from the silence, speaking across centuries. Their decline came gradually, as sea routes replaced overland trade. The desert slowly reclaimed the outer settlements. Sand filled the water channels. Carved facades weathered under desert winds. But the rock held their dreams, preserving their artistry for future generations to discover and wonder at. When Burckhardt rediscovered Petra in 1812, he found Bedouin families still living in the carved chambers, still drawing water from ancient cisterns, still following paths carved by Nabatean feet. The city never truly died, it simply dozed, waiting patiently in the desert silence. Let the rose-colored tranquility of Petra embrace you now. Feel the massive presence of carved stone, solid and eternal, offering shelter and protection. The gentle blush of sandstone in sunset light, colors deepening from pink to gold to deep crimson, beauty carved from the living earth. Breathe slowly, and let the desert's timeless peace carry you forward, toward our next ancient destination. Chapter 8. Angkor. Swallowed by the jungle we drift now to the emerald heart of Southeast Asia, where the ancient Khmer Empire created the world's largest religious complex. Feel yourself floating over the dense Cambodian jungle, where massive stone temples sleep beneath a blanket of vines and towering trees. The canopy stretches endlessly, a green ocean hiding architectural wonders that rival anything ever built. Let your breathing synchronize with the jungle's ancient rhythm, deep and humid. The air is thick with life, carrying the fragrance of frangipani blossoms and the earthy scent of decomposing leaves. Somewhere in the green depths, temple bells seem to whisper on the breeze, echoes of prayers offered centuries ago. Picture Angkor at its magnificent peak, between the 9th and 15th centuries CE, when over 1 million people lived in this sprawling temple city. Angkor Wat rising like a stone mountain from perfectly still moats, its 5 towers reaching toward heaven like lotus buds opening to the dawn. The largest religious monument ever constructed, built as an earthly replica of Mount Meru, the cosmic center of Hindu cosmology. Walk slowly across the ancient causeways, where massive stone nagas, serpent guardians, line the approaches to sacred spaces. Their carved bodies seem to undulate in the dappled jungle light, each scale meticulously carved, each eye gazing eternally toward the temple gates. Feel the reverence that guided such patient artistry. Breathe in the sophisticated engineering that made Angkor possible. The Khmer kings created an intricate network of canals, reservoirs, and waterways. The massive East Baray Reservoir alone held 16 million gallons of water, supporting rice cultivation that could feed the vast population. Imagine the gentle sound of water flowing through stone channels, life-giving streams managed with mathematical precision. Picture the Bayan Temple, with its forest of serene stone faces. Each tower crowned with the enigmatic smile of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of compassion. 216 faces gazing in all directions, their expressions peaceful and knowing, as if holding the secrets of enlightenment in their stone silence. Feel yourself wandering through Ta Prohm, where the jungle has become part of the architecture. Massive silk cotton trees growing through temple walls, their roots flowing like stone rivers over ancient carvings. strangler figs embracing towers in slow motion, centuries-long hugs. This is nature and culture in perfect collaboration, neither conquering, both transforming. The temples were alive with ceremony and celebration. Thousands of dancers performed sacred aspara dances in torch-lit courtyards. Their movements carved in stone, eternal gestures of devotion frozen in graceful poses. Musicians played bamboo flutes and bronze gongs, creating melodies that seemed to make the stone figures dance in flickering firelight. Breathe deeply as you explore the intricate bas-reliefs. Miles of carved galleries telling epic stories. The churning of the ocean of milk, where gods and demons work together to create the elixir of immortality. Battle scenes from the Ramayana, where good and evil dance their eternal conflict. Each carving a meditation on cosmic principles. Picture the royal palace complex, now vanished beneath the jungle floor. Built entirely of wood, it has returned to the earth, leaving only the stone foundations and stairways. But you can imagine the golden pavilions, silk banners fluttering in monsoon breezes, the soft sound of gamelan orchestras drifting across lotus-filled ponds. The Khmer's mastery of hydraulics was extraordinary. They channeled the monsoon rains, stored water through dry seasons, created artificial lakes that reflected temple spires like mirrors. The sound of flowing water was constant, creating a natural soundtrack of abundance and prosperity. As the empire gradually declined, the jungle began its patient reclamation. Vines crept over walls, roots split foundation stones. Trees grew through roofs, transforming temples into living sculptures. The forest didn't destroy Angkor, it absorbed it, creating something entirely new, architecture and ecology. Beck. Oming one organism. When French explorers rediscovered Angkor in the 1860s, they found a lost world. Temples emerging from jungle walls like dreams becoming real. Monkeys playing on ancient altars. Orchids blooming in carved window frames. The site had become a collaboration between human vision and natural growth. Today, archaeologists work carefully, deciding which temples to restore and which to leave in the jungle's embrace. Some structures remain half swallowed by trees, creating mystical spaces where stone and wood, past and present, human ambition and natural patience, exist in perfect balance. Let the green tranquility of jungle-wrapped Angkor settle over you now. Feel the slow wisdom of trees that measure time in centuries, the patience of stone that weathers all storms, the peace that comes when human creation returns to nature's embrace. Breathe slowly, and let the jungle's ancient whispers carry you deeper into rest, as we prepare for our next timeless journey. Chapter 9. Cahokia. The forgotten metropolis. We journey now to the heart of North America, where the mighty Mississippi and Missouri rivers converge in fertile abundance. Here, between 1050 and 1200 CE, the largest city north of Mexico flourished in peaceful grandeur. Feel yourself floating over the vast American prairie, where earthen mounds rise like gentle hills, marking the remains of a sophisticated civilization that once rivaled London in size. Let your breathing flow like the great river itself, steady and powerful. The air carries the sweet scent of prairie grass and wildflowers. Meadowlarks call across endless grasslands, their songs echoing over ceremonial plazas where thousands once gathered. The wind whispers through tall bluestem and Indian grass, nature's own meditation on time and memory. Picture Cahokia at its magnificent peak, home to 20,000 people, maybe more. The Grand Plaza stretching for 50 acres, larger than 35 football fields, surrounded by earthen pyramids that required moving 55 million cubic feet of soil. All carried in woven baskets, one handful at a time. Feel the collective dedication that created such monumental works through pure cooperation. Walk slowly toward Monk's Mound, the largest earthen structure in North America. Rising 100 feet above the floodplain, its flat summit once supporting a massive wooden temple. Imagine the ceremonies held on this artificial mountain. Priests offering prayers to the four directions, smoke rising toward the infinite sky, the entire city spread below like a living mandala. Breathe in the sophisticated urban planning that made Cahokia extraordinary. The city was laid out according to cardinal directions, aligned with celestial movements. Neighborhoods organized around smaller plazas, each with its own community mound. Wooden palisades defining districts, not for warfare, but for organization, creating intimate spaces within the vast metropolis. Picture the bustling markets that filled the Grand Plaza. Traders arriving from across the continent. Copper from the Great Lakes region, shells from the Gulf Coast, mica from the Appalachians, obsidian from the Rocky Mountains. The sound of different languages blending, deals struck with handshakes, goods changing hands in peaceful commerce. Feel yourself exploring the residential areas, where families lived in rectangular houses with walls of woven mats and bark. Raised granaries storing surplus corn, beans, and squash. Gardens planted between homes, growing sunflowers and goosefoot. The gentle sounds of daily life, children playing, elders sharing stories, the rhythmic pounding of mortars grinding grain. The people of Cahokia were master astronomers. They erected circles of cedar posts, creating precise calendars that tracked solstices and equinoxes. Woodhenge, their timber monument, aligned perfectly with the sunrise on significant days. Imagine gatherings at dawn, the community united in witnessing the eternal dance of earth and sun. Breathe deeply as you contemplate their sophisticated agriculture. They created raised fields in wetland areas, managing water levels to maximize crop yields. Develop new varieties of corn, beans that fixed nitrogen in the soil, squash that provided both food and containers. This Three Sisters agriculture sustained large populations while enriching rather than depleting the earth. Picture their elaborate burial ceremonies. Elite individuals interred with beautiful artifacts. Sheets of copper, carefully crafted pottery, chunky stones for their ritual games. But also mass burials that suggest complex social rituals, perhaps voluntary sacrifice for religious purposes, or seasonal ceremonies honoring the cycle of life and death. Their art reveals deep spiritual connections. Pottery decorated with cosmic symbols. Spider beings that may represent earth and sky connections. Birdman figures that suggest shamanic transformation. Copper plates showing warriors or dancers in elaborate feathered costumes. Each piece speaking of a rich inner life. A culture focused on meaning beyond mere survival. The decline of Cahokia remains mysterious. Perhaps climate change made agriculture difficult. Maybe social tensions grew too great, or resources became depleted. The population gradually dispersed, families returning to smaller villages, leaving the great mounds empty but intact. Like a meditation retreat ending, people carrying the wisdom with them as they scattered. When European explorers arrived centuries later, they found only the mounds, covered in prairie grass. The wooden structures had returned to earth, but the earthworks remained, patient monuments to a civilization that thrived through cooperation, that built with hands and baskets, that honored the earth while reaching toward the sky. French monks established a monastery near the largest mound, giving it the name that stuck. But they never knew they were living beside the remains of America's first great city. The prairie had reclaimed Cahokia so completely that its secrets remained hidden in plain sight. Let the prairie peace of ancient Cahokia embrace you now. Feel the vast openness of grassland and sky, the patient endurance of earthen mounds, the wisdom of people who built monuments not from stone, but from the living earth itself. Breathe slowly, and let the prairie wind carry you forward, toward our next ancient wonder. Chapter 10. Derinkuyu. Refuge beneath the earth. We descend now into the heart of Cappadocia. Beneath the fairy chimney rock formations of central Turkey, where ancient people carved an entire city into the soft volcanic stone. Feel yourself moving deeper, through narrow tunnels that wind like veins through the earth. Into Derinkuyu, the deepest underground city ever discovered, where 20,000 people once lived in complete safety beneath the surface world. Let your breathing settle into the rhythm of deep caves, cool and steady. The air here is perfectly temperate, maintained at a constant 55 degrees by the Earth's natural insulation. Stone walls smoothed by countless hands over centuries. Your footsteps whisper against carved floors worn smooth by generations of underground dwellers. Picture this remarkable refuge carved between the 7th and 8th centuries CE. Extending 18 levels deep into the bedrock, connected by a maze of tunnels, ventilation shafts, and storage chambers. The soft volcanic tough stone was perfect for carving, firm enough to create stable rooms, yet yielding enough to work with simple tools. Feel the patient dedication required to hollow out such vast spaces grain by grain. Walk slowly through the upper levels, where daily life unfolded in carved comfort. Stables for animals, wine cellars with massive stone jars, kitchens with natural chimneys that carried smoke safely to the surface. Living quarters with niches carved into walls for oil lamps, beds, and personal belongings. Everything designed for long-term occupation, a complete world beneath the world. Breathe in the ingenious ventilation system that made underground life possible. Over 50 air shafts descending through all 18 levels, some reaching depths of 180 feet. Fresh air flowing down through carefully calculated passages, stale air rising through separate channels. The deepest levels receiving the same pure air as the surface. Ancient engineering that still functions perfectly today. Feel yourself in the communal areas where families gathered. Dining halls carved from solid rock, their domed ceilings creating perfect acoustics for conversation and song. Children's voices echoing softly through chambers where games of knucklebones were played by lamplight. The gentle sounds of community life insulated by tons of protective stone. Picture the sophisticated defensive systems. Massive round stone doors, weighing up to 1,000 pounds each, that could seal passages from the inside. Narrow corridors designed to force invaders into single file. Hidden pitfall traps. Secret passages connecting to other underground cities, all created not for conquest, but for protection, allowing peaceful people to wait safely until danger passed. Descend deeper into the religious levels, where chapels carved from living rock housed prayer and meditation, crosses etched into walls, baptismal pools hewn from stone floors. The deepest sanctuary, closest to the earth's heart, where whispered prayers seem to resonate through the very foundations of the world. Breathe deeply in the storage areas. Massive granaries that could hold months of wheat and barley. Wine storage with temperature control provided by Earth's steady coolness. Clay amphora embedded in carved niches. Oil storage in chambers sealed against moisture. Everything needed to sustain a large population through extended sieges or harsh winters above ground. The underground city connected to other subterranean settlements through tunnels stretching for miles. A hidden network linking dozens of communities. Imagine messengers moving like moles through the earth, families visiting relatives in neighboring cave cities. An entire civilization existing parallel to the surface world, invisible and invulnerable. Picture life during times of refuge. When armies swept across the plains above, families descended into their prepared sanctuary, sealing the entrances with stones and earth, continuing their daily routines in safety. Babies born in chambers lit by oil lamps, children learning to read by carved niches, elders teaching skills in workshops hollowed from solid rock. The workshops reveal remarkable craftsmanship, pottery studios with kilns built into the walls. Textile areas where wool was spun and woven. Tool-making spaces where metal was worked. Even underground wine production, with pressing areas and fermentation chambers. Complete economic life sustained in carved stone comfort. Water flowed through the city via natural springs and carved channels. Wells descending to underground rivers. Distribution systems carrying fresh water to every level. Drainage channels preventing flooding. The sound of running water creating a gentle soundtrack of security and abundance, like underground streams singing lullabies. When peace returned to the surface, Families would emerge gradually, blinking in sunlight, but carrying with them the deep security of knowing they could retreat if needed. The underground city remained ready, doors oiled, passages clear, ventilation systems maintained, a permanent sanctuary carved from the living earth. The city was gradually abandoned as political stability increased, but it was never forgotten. Local families continued to use upper levels for storage, for wine cellars, for refuge during brief conflicts. The earth keeping their secrets safe, waiting patiently for archaeologists to rediscover the marvel of underground civilization. Let the protective embrace of carved stone surround you now. Feel the deep security of being held by the earth itself, insulated from surface troubles, sustained by ancient wisdom, surrounded by the patient strength of stone that has sheltered countless generations. Breathe slowly, and let the earth's deep peace carry you further into restful darkness, as we prepare for our next subterranean wonder. Chapter 11. Rapa Nui, the island of silent watchers. We drift now across the vast Pacific Ocean, to one of the most isolated inhabited islands on Earth. Here, 2,300 miles from the nearest populated land, the remarkable Rapa Nui people created one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. Feel yourself approaching this triangular island, where nearly 1,000 stone giants stand in eternal vigil, their backs to the ocean, their eyes gazing forever inland. Let your breathing match the rhythm of ocean waves, deep and endless. The air carries the salt tang of sea spray and the sweet fragrance of wild grass. Trade winds whisper across volcanic slopes, where the moai stand in silent meditation, their massive forms creating shadows that shift slowly with the sun's passage. Picture this extraordinary civilization flourishing between 1250 and 1500 CE. Polynesian voyagers who navigated thousands of miles of open ocean in double-hulled canoes, guided only by stars, waves, and seabirds. They brought with them breadfruit, taro, sweet potatoes, and chickens, transforming this remote volcanic island into a thriving community of 10,000 people. Walk slowly among the moai, these monumental statues averaging 13 feet tall and weighing 14 tons. Each one unique, with distinct facial features and expressions, carved from compressed volcanic ash at the Rano Raraku quarry, then somehow transported across the island to their final resting places. Feel the profound dedication required to create such monuments with only stone tools. Breathe in the mystery of how these giants were moved. Recent experiments suggest they may have been walked upright, teams of people rocking them forward with ropes. The statues swaying like massive dancers across the landscape. Imagine the coordination required, entire communities working together, chanting in rhythm as the moai slowly journeyed to their destinations. Picture the AHU, the ceremonial platforms where moai stand in rows. Precisely fitted stone foundations supporting the statues, some platforms stretching nearly 500 feet long, built without mortar, each stone shaped to fit perfectly with its neighbors. These weren't just statue bases, but sacred spaces where ceremonies honored ancestors and celebrated the cycles of life. Feel yourself at Rano Raraku, the quarry where nearly 400 moai remain. Some buried to their necks by centuries of soil accumulation, appearing as disembodied heads dotting the hillside. Others lying on their sides, abandoned mid-transport, creating an outdoor sculpture garden of impossible scale and beauty. Breathe deeply as you contemplate the island's ecology, once covered in dense palm forests, providing wood for canoes, tools, and statue transport. The Rapa Nui people lived sustainably for centuries, but eventually the growing population and ambitious statue projects led to deforestation. The last palm tree fallen, ending an era of abundance. Picture daily life in the ancient villages. Families living in boat-shaped stone houses called hair panga, foundations arranged in rows along the coastline. Children playing while elders carved petroglyphs into coastal rocks. The gentle sound of stone tools shaping volcanic rock, creating images of turtles, fish, and the mysterious birdman figures. The Rongorongo script remains one of the world's few undeciphered writing systems. Flowing glyphs carved into wooden tablets, possibly recording genealogies, astronomical observations, or sacred chants. Each symbol a mystery, speaking of knowledge that may be lost forever, or waiting patiently for future understanding. Feel yourself at Orongo Ceremonial Village, where the annual Birdman competition took place. Young men swimming to offshore islets to collect sooty tern eggs. The first to return would represent his sponsor as that year's Tongata Manu. This dangerous ritual connected the people to the rhythms of migrating seabirds, celebrating courage and seasonal abundance. The moai weren't just statues, but embodiments of deified ancestors. Their eyes originally inlaid with coral and red scoria, gazing over villages and agricultural terraces. Protecting their descendants, blessing crops, maintaining the spiritual connection between the living and the dead. Each statue a prayer carved in stone. Picture the elaborate headdresses, pukao, made of red scoria, that topped some moai. These multi-ton topknots were quarried from a separate location and somehow lifted into place, adding even more mystery to the engineering achievements. Red stone crowning gray bodies, creating a visual hierarchy among the silent watchers. As resources became scarce, the island society transformed. The statue building era ended. People adapted to new realities, developing sustainable practices that allowed them to survive on their isolated home. The moai standing as witnesses to both achievement and adaptation, monuments to human ambition and resilience. When European contact began in 1722, disease and slave raids devastated the population. B. Y 1877, only 111 Rapa Nui people remained. But their culture endured, language survived, and today their descendants work to preserve and interpret the legacy of their remarkable ancestors. The moai continue their eternal vigil, weathering Pacific storms, watching over an island that has seen triumph and tragedy, abundance and scarcity. Their patient expressions unchanged, holding secrets we may never fully understand, but can appreciate with wonder and respect. Let the oceanic vastness surrounding Rapa Nui embrace you now. Feel the profound isolation that breeds both creativity and resilience. The endless patience of stone watchers. The deep connection between land, sea, and sky that sustained these remarkable people. Breathe slowly, and let the trade winds carry you across endless blue waters, toward our next island of mystery. Chapter 12. Catalhoyuk. The city without streets. We journey now to the Anatolian plateau of central Turkey, where 9,000 years ago, humanity's earliest city emerged in a form unlike anything built before or since. Feel yourself approaching Catalhoyuk, where thousands of mud brick houses cluster together like honeycomb cells, with no streets, no alleys, no ground-level doors. A revolutionary experiment in urban living. Let your breathing settle into the rhythm of this ancient community, calm and interconnected. The air carries the warm scent of baked earth and cooking fires, mixed with the fragrance of wild grasses growing on rooftops, where gardens flourished and children played above the living spaces below, creating the world's first green city. Picture this remarkable settlement at its peak between 7,500 and 5,700 BCE. Home to 8,000 people living in perfect rectangular houses, each structure sharing walls with its neighbors, creating an unbroken urban fabric. Entry to homes came through holes in the roofs, with wooden ladders providing access. Imagine families climbing up and down like prairie dogs, moving across rooftop highways. Walk slowly across these ancient rooftops, where most of daily life unfolded. Food preparation in outdoor ovens. Craft work in the warm sunlight. Children running between houses, playing games that spanned multiple rooftops. The gentle sounds of community life rising from below, cooking pots bubbling, looms clicking. Voices calling from house to house. Breathe in the ingenious design of each dwelling. Identical rectangular spaces, about 25 by 16 feet, with raised platforms for sleeping and sitting, storage spaces built into walls, hearths positioned beneath roof openings that served as chimneys. Every element carefully planned for comfort and efficiency. Feel the harmony created by such thoughtful architecture. Picture the remarkable cleanliness of this ancient city. With no streets, there was no street-level waste. Garbage was carefully managed, organic matter composted, pottery shards recycled into new vessels. Even human waste was processed systematically, creating an urban environment that remained healthy for over 1,000 years. Feel yourself descending through a roof entrance, into the warm interior of a Catalhoyuk home. Walls painted with elaborate murals, geometric patterns, hunting scenes, and mysterious symbols. The most famous shows a volcano erupting behind the city, possibly the world's oldest landscape painting. Art emerging from the human need to record and beautify experience. Breathe deeply as you explore their sophisticated spiritual life. Many houses contained shrines with bull's head sculptures, rooms where ceremonies honored the cycles of life and death. Beneath sleeping platforms, the bones of ancestors rested peacefully, connecting each family to their heritage, the living literally supported by those who came before. Picture their remarkable craftsmanship, obsidian tools of incredible sharpness, created from volcanic glass traded from distant mountains. Pottery fired to perfection in communal kilns. Textiles woven from wool and plant fibers. Jewelry made from shells, stone, and copper. Each object crafted with patience and skill, beauty integrated into daily use. The people of Catalhoyuk were among the world's first farmers. They cultivated wheat, barley, peas, and lentils in fields surrounding the city. But they also continued hunting, as shown in dramatic wall paintings of men surrounding enormous aurochs. These ancient wild cattle, depicted larger than life, suggesting both the danger and importance of the hunt. Feel the equality that characterized this ancient society. Houses nearly identical in size and amenities. No palaces. No obvious signs of extreme wealth or poverty. Decisions apparently made collectively. Resources shared fairly. Women and men buried with equal honor and grave goods. A civilization that thrived through cooperation rather than hierarchy. Breathe in their advanced understanding of materials. Mud brick construction that lasted centuries. Plaster walls renewed annually, keeping interiors fresh and bright. Floors of polished clay that gleamed like ceramic. Everything maintained through community effort, each family contributing to the city's preservation. Picture the seasonal rhythms that governed life here. Harvest festivals where surplus grain was stored in communal granaries. Winter months spent in craft production. Spring ceremonies celebrating new growth. Summer hunts in the surrounding hills. Each season bringing its own tasks, its own celebrations, its own gifts to the community. The city's decline came gradually, as climate change and soil depletion made agriculture difficult. Families slowly dispersed to smaller settlements, leaving Catalhoyuk to the wind and rain. Mud brick walls melting back into earth. Rooftop gardens returning to wild grassland. The experiment in communal urban living dissolving peacefully into memory. When archaeologists uncovered Catalhoyuk in the 1960s, they found 18 levels of occupation, each generation building directly on top of the previous. Creating a tell, an artificial hill composed entirely of human habitation. Layer upon layer of daily life, preserved in dried mud and time. The site continues to reveal secrets. Advanced metallurgy, sophisticated art, evidence of long-distance trade, complex burial practices, each discovery adding to our understanding of humanity's first urban experiment. A city that worked not through streets and public spaces, but through rooftops and shared walls, community built literally from the ground up. Let the harmonious vision of Catalhoyuk settle over you now. Feel the security of shared walls, the community of rooftop highways, the wisdom of building together rather than apart. Architecture as cooperation, urban planning as collective care. Breathe slowly, and let this ancient model of sustainable community carry you deeper into peaceful rest. as we prepare for our next timeless journey. Chapter 13. Aksum. The Kingdom of Obelisks. We journey now to the highlands of northern Ethiopia, where ancient trade routes converged beneath endless African skies. Here, between the 1st and 8th centuries CE, the mighty kingdom of Aksum rose as one of the world's great powers. Feel yourself approaching this legendary realm, where towering granite obelisks pierce the sky like frozen prayers, monuments to a civilization that controlled the riches flowing between Rome and ancient India. Let your breathing flow like the highland winds, clean and invigorating. The air carries the fragrance of frankincense and myrrh, precious resins that made Aksum wealthy. Mixed with the scent of wild coffee growing on mountain slopes, where this beloved plant was first discovered and cultivated, creating aromatic gifts that still connect us to this ancient land. Picture the magnificent city at its golden peak. Stone palaces rising in terraced splendor, their walls built from perfectly fitted blocks without mortar. Reservoirs and cisterns carved from solid rock, collecting precious rainwater during the brief highland storms. Gardens where exotic plants from across the trade network flourished in the mountain air. Walk slowly among the great stelae, these towering granite monuments, some reaching over 100 feet toward the heavens. Carved to resemble multi-story buildings, complete with false doors and windows. Each obelisk a masterpiece of engineering, weighing hundreds of tons, yet erected with precision that modern machinery would struggle to match. Feel the devotion that moved such immense stones. Breathe in the sophisticated metallurgy that made Aksum legendary. Their craftsmen worked gold into delicate jewelry, minted silver coins that circulated from Britain to India. Forged iron tools and weapons of exceptional quality. The gentle sounds of hammer on anvil, creating objects of beauty and utility, precious metals transformed by skill and fire into works of art. Picture the bustling port of Adulis on the Red Sea coast, where ships arrived from Alexandria, Constantinople, Persia, and distant India. Aksumite merchants trading ivory, gold, and aromatic spices for silk, glassware, and precious gems. Imagine the languages blending in the marketplace: Greek, Arabic, Sanskrit, and Ge'ez, creating a cosmopolitan symphony of commerce. Feel yourself in the royal court, where the Negus, the king of kings, held audiences beneath carved stone canopies. Receiving ambassadors from Rome, Byzantium, and Sassanid Persia, the kingdom of Aksum recognized as an equal by the world's greatest empires. Its coins bearing Greek inscriptions, its monuments rivaling those of Egypt and Mesopotamia. Breathe deeply as you contemplate their remarkable adaptation to highland life. Terraced agriculture that transformed steep slopes into productive farmland. Stone-lined granaries that stored surplus grain. Sophisticated water management systems, channels and reservoirs that captured every precious drop. Mountain engineering that worked with rather than against the challenging terrain. Picture the moment when Aksum became one of the first Christian kingdoms. King Ezana's conversion in the 4th century CE. Ancient pagan symbols on coins replaced by Christian crosses. Rock-hewn churches carved deep into living stone. The gentle sounds of Ge'ez chants echoing from subterranean sanctuaries. Christianity taking root in African soil. The Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion became the spiritual heart of the kingdom. Legend says it houses the Ark of the Covenant, brought from Jerusalem by the Queen of Sheba's son. Whether myth or history, the story speaks to Aksum's deep spiritual connections, its role as a bridge between ancient Israel and Christian Ethiopia. Feel the weight of their massive underground tombs. Royal burial chambers carved from bedrock, connected by tunnels and passages, where kings and queens rested surrounded by golden treasures, ivory carvings, and precious stones. The dead honored with the same engineering skills that raised the living obelisks. Breathe in their intellectual achievements. Aksum developed its own written script, created astronomical calendars, maintained libraries filled with manuscripts. Their scholars translated Greek and Arabic texts into Ge'ez, preserving knowledge that might otherwise have been lost. monasteries becoming centers of learning and contemplation. Picture their sophisticated urban planning. Streets laid out in organized patterns. Drainage systems that handled mountain runoff. Public buildings decorated with carved friezes. Residential areas where wealthy merchants lived in stone villas. Markets where goods from 3 continents changed hands. A truly international city in the African highlands. The kingdom's decline came gradually, as Islamic expansion shifted trade routes away from the Red Sea. Climate change making agriculture more difficult. Political power fragmenting among regional nobles. But the great stelae remained. Silent witnesses to Axum's golden age. Monuments that continue to inspire wonder and respect. When European explorers finally reached Axum in the 19th century, they found local people still revering the ancient monuments. Still telling stories of the great kings. Still maintaining traditions that stretched back over a millennium. The kingdom had ended, but its spiritual and cultural legacy lived on. Today, the tallest surviving obelisk still stands, a testament to engineering genius and artistic vision. While the Ark of the Covenant, if it truly rests in Axum, remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Hidden in a simple chapel, guarded by a single monk, connecting this ancient African kingdom to the deepest mysteries of faith. Let the highland strength of ancient Axum embrace you now. Feel the thin air of mountain peaks, the solid reliability of granite monuments, the deep spirituality of a people who reached toward heaven while keeping their feet firmly planted in African soil. Breathe slowly, and let the ancient trade winds carry you onward, toward our next kingdom of stone and spirit. Chapter 14. Caral Soup. The city without war. We drift now to the arid coast of Peru, where the Soup River winds through desert valleys toward the Pacific Ocean. Here, 5,000 years ago, long before the pyramids of Egypt, the oldest city in the Americas flourished in remarkable peace. Feel yourself approaching Caral, where ancient pyramids rise like golden mountains from the desert floor, monuments to humanity's capacity for cooperation rather than conquest. Let your breathing flow like the gentle desert winds, dry and warm. The air carries the faint scent of wild cotton and the distant salt tang of the Pacific. Condors soar silently overhead, their shadows passing over terraced hillsides where ancient farmers once cultivated beans, squash, and sweet potatoes. The silence here is profound, unmarked by any evidence of warfare or violence. Picture this extraordinary civilization between 3500 and 1800 BCE. Contemporary with early Egypt and Mesopotamia, yet developing along completely different principles. No weapons have been found, no defensive walls, no signs of conflict. Instead, archaeologists discover musical instruments, textiles of breathtaking beauty, and architectural marvels built through pure collaboration. Walk slowly through the sacred city of Caral, where 6 large pyramids arrange themselves around vast ceremonial plazas. The Pyramide Mayor rising 60 feet above the desert, its stepped sides built from stone and mortar, perfectly engineered to withstand earthquakes that still shake the region. Feel the peaceful energy of spaces designed for gathering rather than defending. Breathe in the sophisticated urban planning that connected 25 settlements across the Soup Valley. Each community specialized in different products, fishing villages along the coast, agricultural towns in river valleys, highland settlements growing cotton and gourds. All connected by trade networks that function without central authority, cooperation creating abundance for all. Picture their remarkable agricultural innovations. Irrigation systems that channeled river water across desert terraces. Raised fields that improved drainage and soil fertility. The cultivation of cotton that would become central to Andean civilization. Gardens producing beans, lima beans that still bear the region's name, and the bottle gourds essential for carrying water and storing grain. Feel yourself in their ceremonial plazas, where thousands gathered for festivals and rituals. Circular sunken courts designed with perfect acoustics, where music and chanting created communal experiences of transcendence. The gentle sounds of bone flutes and shell trumpets, reed pipes creating melodies that seem to echo the desert wind. All preserved in the dry climate like frozen songs. Breathe deeply as you explore their sophisticated textile production. Cotton grown in highland valleys, spun into thread using the world's earliest known quipus, knotted string devices that recorded information. Weavers creating fabrics of extraordinary complexity, geometric patterns that may have encoded astronomical observations or mathematical concepts. Beauty and knowledge woven together. Picture the peaceful rhythms of daily life. Families living in stone and adobe houses, arranged in neighborhoods around smaller plazas. Children playing with toys carved from gourds and wood. Elders sharing knowledge of plants, seasons, and star patterns. The gentle sounds of grinding corn, weaving looms, and conversation drifting across courtyards. Their diet reveals sophisticated trade relationships. Anchovies and sardines from coastal communities. Agricultural products from river valleys. Marine shells that traveled hundreds of miles inland. All exchanged through networks based on reciprocity rather than profit. Each community contributing its specialty while receiving what it needed. Feel their deep connection to cosmic cycles. Pyramids aligned with cardinal directions and celestial movements. Ceremonies timed to solstices and equinoxes. Star-shaped sunken courts that may have functioned as astronomical observatories. The desert's clear skies providing perfect conditions for tracking planetary movements and seasonal changes. Breathe in their remarkable engineering achievements. Pyramids built using the shisiar, a technique. Stones carried in reed baskets and deposited in layers. Creating structures that have survived 5,000 years of earthquakes. Acoustic engineering in their ceremonial spaces that amplified sound without electronic assistance. Architecture designed for community rather than individual glorification. Picture their artistic expressions. Carved bone flutes decorated with intricate patterns. Textiles dyed with minerals and plants, creating colors that remain vivid after millennia. Small sculptures of human figures, always shown in peaceful poses, often holding musical instruments or agricultural tools. Art celebrating life rather than power. The civilization's decline remains mysterious. Climate change may have altered river patterns, making agriculture more difficult. Or perhaps social changes led people to disperse into smaller communities. The abandonment was gradual and peaceful, structures left intact, no signs of destruction or violence. Like a meditation retreat ending, people simply walking away when the time felt right. When archaeologists rediscovered Cairo in the 1990s, they found a civilization that challenged assumptions about early human societies. No evidence of warfare, no weapons, no fortifications. Instead, they uncovered proof that complex urban civilization could develop through cooperation, art, trade, and shared spiritual practices. The site remains active archaeologically, with new discoveries constantly emerging. Textiles, musical instruments, and architectural features that reveal more about this peaceful civilization. Each find reinforcing the remarkable fact that humanity's earliest urban experiment in the Americas was based on harmony rather than conflict. Let the desert peace of ancient Cairo settle over you now. Feel the profound stillness of a civilization that chose cooperation over conquest, music over warfare, shared abundance over individual accumulation. The gentle warmth of desert sun on ancient stone, monuments to humanity's capacity for peace. Breathe slowly, and let the timeless wisdom of the Soup Valley carry you deeper into tranquil rest, as we prepare for our next journey through peaceful antiquity. Chapter 15. Sangxingdui, China's Bronze Mystery. We journey now to the fertile Sichuan Basin of ancient China, where the Min River flows through bamboo groves and misty valleys. Here, 3,000 years ago, a remarkable civilization created bronze masterpieces so extraordinary that they challenged everything scholars thought they knew about ancient Chinese culture. Feel yourself approaching Sangxingdui, where mysterious artifacts sleep beneath rice paddies, waiting to reveal their otherworldly secrets. Let your breathing flow like morning mist over the river, soft and mysterious. The air carries the gentle fragrance of jasmine and the earthy scent of wet soil. Bamboo whispers in the breeze, creating natural wind chimes that seem to echo with ancient memories. Somewhere in the distance, a temple bell rings once, then falls silent. Picture this enigmatic civilization flourishing between 1200 and 1000 BCE. Contemporary with China's Shang dynasty, yet completely different in artistic vision. Their bronze masks feature eyes that bulge impossibly from their sockets, reaching toward heaven like metallic prayers. Faces that seem both human and divine, bridging earthly and celestial realms with expressions of eternal wonder. Walk slowly through their sacred workshops, where master bronze casters worked with techniques unknown elsewhere in ancient China. The gentle sounds of furnaces breathing, molten metal flowing like liquid fire into clay molds. Craftsmen creating objects that seem to come from dreams rather than historical tradition. Each piece unique, defying conventional artistic categories. Breathe in the mystery of their colossal bronze tree, 10 feet tall and adorned with mythical birds, dragons, and hanging fruit. This cosmic tree seems to connect earth and sky, its branches reaching toward divine realms, roots anchoring it in terrestrial soil. Imagine ceremonies where this bronze forest served as a bridge between worlds, priests climbing its metal branches toward enlightenment. Picture their remarkable gold masks, hammered from pure gold into faces of serene beauty. Some decorated with elaborate headdresses, others showing expressions of deep meditation. These weren't mere ornaments but sacred objects, possibly worn by shamans during rituals that connected the living community with ancestral spirits and celestial powers. Feel yourself among their bronze figures, tall and elegant, some standing over 8 feet high. Wearing elaborate robes and holding mysterious objects. Their postures suggest dancers frozen mid-movement, or priests performing eternal rituals. Each figure unique in detail yet united by an otherworldly quality that speaks of profound spiritual experiences. Breathe deeply as you contemplate their advanced metallurgy. Bronze alloys of perfect composition, casting techniques that created objects of impossible delicacy. Hollow sculptures that ring like bells when touched. The technology required suggests generations of experimental knowledge, masters teaching apprentices secrets that died with their civilization. Picture their jade work, carved with precision that rivals modern tools. Ceremonial blades, ornate pendants, and ritual vessels that seem to glow with inner light. Jade, the stone of immortality in Chinese culture, worked here with unprecedented skill, creating objects that bridge the practical and the mystical, tools for ceremonies we can barely imagine. Their elephant ivory carvings reveal connections to distant lands, or perhaps to a climate warmer than today's. Carved tusks decorated with intricate patterns, suggesting trade networks reaching into tropical regions, or memories of times when elephants roamed the Chinese landscape. Each artifact expanding our understanding of ancient geography and climate. Feel the profound ritual significance of their sacrificial pits, where thousands of precious objects were deliberately broken and buried. Bronze masks smashed and burned, jade blades ceremonially killed. Before interment, this wasn't destruction but transformation. Precious objects given to the earth in rituals that honored ancestors and ensured cosmic balance. Breathe in their sophisticated understanding of astronomy. Many artifacts feature cosmic symbolism, sunwheels, star patterns, celestial birds that may represent constellations. Their bronze sunwheel, decorated with radiating points and mythical creatures, suggests deep knowledge of solar cycles and seasonal celebrations. Picture their daily life, inferred from the extraordinary objects they created. A society wealthy enough to afford such elaborate bronze work, yet spiritually focused enough to bury treasures deliberately. Communities gathered for ceremonies around the great bronze tree. Shamans wearing gold masks channeling divine wisdom, music and chanting creating altered states of consciousness. Their writing system, if it existed, remains undeciphered. Symbols on bronze and jade objects hint at communication methods, but their meaning stays locked in mystery. Perhaps they recorded their deepest spiritual insights, astronomical observations, or genealogies connecting earthly rulers to divine ancestors. Each symbol a door to understanding that remains closed. The civilization's end came suddenly, around 1000 BCE. Perhaps through conquest, climate change, or internal upheaval. But their final act was to bury their most precious objects in pits, preserving them for future discovery. As if they knew their culture would end but hoped their artistic vision might someday be appreciated again. When farmers accidentally discovered the first Sangxingdui artifacts in 1929, they found objects so unusual that archaeologists initially dismissed them as foreign imports. Only decades later did excavation reveal an entire civilization hidden beneath farmland. Bronze masterpieces that redefined understanding of ancient Chinese art and spirituality. Recent discoveries continue to amaze. New pits yielding silk, gold foil, and bronze objects of stunning complexity. Each find adding pieces to a cultural puzzle that may never be completely solved. But perhaps mystery is appropriate. Some civilizations meant to inspire wonder rather than complete understanding. Let the bronze mystery of Sangxingdui settle over you now. Feel the weight of metal transformed into art, the shimmer of gold masks reflecting eternal light, the profound questions that some civilizations leave unanswered. Beauty created not for explanation but for contemplation. Breathe slowly, and let these metallic dreams carry you deeper into the realm of ancient mysteries, as we prepare for our next journey into the unknown. Chapter 16. Tiwanaku. Masters of stone. We ascend now to the high altiplano of Bolivia, where Lake Titicaca shimmers like a vast mirror beneath endless Andean skies. Here, at 12,500 feet above sea level, where the air is thin and crystal clear, the remarkable Tiwanaku civilization achieved architectural mastery that defies easy explanation. Feel yourself approaching this ancient ceremonial center, where massive stone blocks fit together with precision that would challenge modern engineering. Let your breathing adjust to the rarefied mountain air, slow and deliberate. The atmosphere here is so pure it seems to magnify every sensation. Condors glide silently on thermal currents, their wingspans casting moving shadows over terraced hillsides. The only sounds are wind through quinoa fields and the distant lapping of lake waters against reed-covered shores. Picture Tiwanaku at its magnificent peak, between 300 and 1000 CE. When this high-altitude city served as the spiritual and political center for a civilization spanning much of the Andes. Stone pyramids and temples rising from the grasslands like monuments to geometric perfection. Their surfaces glowing golden in the intense sunlight, reflecting off Lake Titicaca's sacred waters. Walk slowly through the Acapana Pyramid, this massive stepped structure built from precisely cut andesite blocks. Each stone weighing many tons, yet fitted together so perfectly that not even a knife blade can slip between them. The pyramid's interior contains a sophisticated drainage system, channels that carried water through the structure in patterns that mirror the constellations above. Breathe in the mystery of their quarrying and transport methods. The nearest andesite quarries lie 10 miles away across difficult terrain. Yet somehow these ancient engineers moved 100-ton monoliths with mathematical precision. Some stones show evidence of metal clamps. Others bear no tool marks at all, as if shaped by methods we can no longer comprehend. Picture the famous Gateway of the Sun, carved from a single block of andesite weighing over 10 tons. Its intricate reliefs show the staff god surrounded by winged figures, possibly representing a calendar system based on astronomical observations. The central deity's face gazes eternally eastward, toward the sunrise over Lake Titicaca, creating a stone timepiece that marks celestial cycles. Feel yourself in the Colosseum temple, where standing stones create an astronomical observatory of remarkable precision. These monoliths align with solstices and equinoxes, allowing priest astronomers to track seasonal changes with accuracy essential for high-altitude agriculture. Imagine ceremonies held at dawn, when sunlight streams between the stones, marking moments of cosmic significance. Breathe deeply as you contemplate their agricultural innovations. In this harsh environment, where frost can occur any night of the year, Tiwanaku engineers created raised field systems called waru-waru. These earthen platforms, surrounded by water channels, created microclimates that protected crops from freezing, allowing them to cultivate potatoes, quinoa, and other Andean staples at impossible altitudes. Picture their sophisticated understanding of hydraulics. The site contains an intricate network of underground aqueducts, drainage systems, and water manag. Ambient infrastructure, stone channels that carried water from mountain springs, through ceremonial areas, and into agricultural zones. The sound of flowing water creating a constant gentle soundtrack, life-giving streams managed with engineering precision. Their stone carving reveals artistic mastery that rivals any ancient civilization. Monolithic statues with deeply carved faces showing expressions of serene concentration. Intricate geometric patterns that seem to flow like textile designs translated into stone. Each surface finished to perfection, despite working at an altitude where every breath requires effort. Feel the spiritual significance of their location. Lake Titicaca, considered the birthplace of the sun in Andean mythology. The highest navigable lake in the world, its deep blue waters stretching to distant mountains. Tiwanaku positioned to harness the sacred power of this alpine sea, where earth meets sky in perfect harmony. Breathe in their remarkable textile traditions. Though few fabrics survive the harsh climate, stone sculptures show elaborate clothing with complex patterns, indicating weaving techniques of extraordinary sophistication. Alpaca and vicuña wool transformed into garments worthy of divine beings, colors derived from high-altitude plants and minerals. Picture their metallurgy. Bronze tools and ornaments created using techniques adapted to extreme altitude. Furnaces that burned with the intensity needed to work metal in thin air. Artisans creating beautiful objects despite environmental challenges that would defeat lesser craftsmen. Gold and silver worked into religious objects that reflected the mountain sunlight. Their influence spread across the Andes. Tiwanaku pottery and architectural styles found from northern Chile to southern Peru. Not through conquest, but through pilgrimage and trade. This high-altitude center drawing visitors from across the Andean world, like a mountain mecca, attracting those seeking spiritual connection and astronomical wisdom. The civilization's decline came gradually, around 1000 CE. Climate change may have disrupted their delicate agricultural systems. Political fragmentation perhaps weakened central authority. But they left no signs of violence, no evidence of destruction. Instead, a peaceful fade into history, leaving their stone monuments as eternal witnesses to their achievements. When Spanish chroniclers first heard of Tiwanaku, local Aymara people spoke of it as a place built by giants in a single night. Such was the incredulity that these precisely fitted stones could be the work of human hands. The legends preserving cultural memory of engineering capabilities that seemed superhuman. Modern research continues to reveal Tiwanaku's sophistication. Ground-penetrating radar showing extensive underground structures. Archaeoastronomy confirming the precision of their celestial alignments. Each discovery adding to appreciation for a civilization that mastered both stone and stars at the roof of the world. Let the crystalline clarity of high-altitude Tiwanaku embrace you now. Feel the thin air that sharpens every perception, the massive presence of perfectly fitted stones, the vast expanse of sacred lake reflecting infinite sky. Architecture that seems to bridge earth and heaven with geometric perfection. Breathe slowly, and let the mountain stillness carry you higher, toward our next ancient summit of human achievement. Chapter 17. Norte Chico. The forgotten civilization. We drift now along Peru's arid northern coast, where ancient rivers carry Andean snowmelt through desert valleys to the Pacific Ocean. Here, Over 4,000 years ago, in a landscape that seems too harsh for civilization, the Norte Chico people created something extraordinary. Feel yourself approaching this forgotten realm, where pyramid cities rise from barren hills like mirages made of stone and earth. Let your breathing match the rhythm of desert winds, dry and steady. The air shimmers with heat waves rising from sun-baked earth, yet carries the distant coolness of mountain streams. Seabirds call from coastal cliffs, their cries echoing across valleys where ancient farmers transformed wasteland into gardens. The silence between sounds is vast and profound. Picture this remarkable civilization flourishing between 3500 and 1800 BCE. Older than the Egyptian pyramids, contemporary with early Mesopotamian cities, yet developing in complete isolation. 30 major urban centers scattered across river valleys, each built around massive ceremonial platforms, monuments to collective labor and shared spiritual vision. Walk slowly through the ancient city of Aspero, where pyramids rise directly from Pacific shores. Built from carefully shaped stones and held together with reed bags filled with rocks. These structures required millions of person-hours to construct, yet show no signs of forced labor. Instead, they speak of communities working together, generations united by common purpose and shared belief. Breathe in their ingenious adaptation to desert life. The Norte Chico people mastered irrigation agriculture in one of the world's driest regions. Channeling river water through elaborate canal systems, creating fertile oases in landscapes that receive less than an inch of rain per year. Cotton fields blooming white against red earth, proving human ingenuity can make deserts flower. Picture their remarkable fishing technology. Coastal communities using some of the world's earliest fish nets, woven from cotton grown in inland valleys. Anchovy and sardine catches so abundant they supported large populations. The gentle sound of waves against reed boats, fishermen returning with silver harvests from the rich Pacific currents. Feel yourself in their ceremonial plazas, sunken circular courts where thousands gathered for festivals and rituals. These spaces designed with perfect acoustics, allowing a single speaker to address vast crowds. Imagine the music drifting across stone platif, orms, flutes and drums creating rhythms that connected earthly celebration with cosmic cycles. Breathe deeply as you contemplate their sophisticated society without pottery. Unlike other early civilizations, Norte Chico produced no ceramics. Instead, they created containers from gourds, baskets from reeds, textiles from cotton. This absence suggests a culture focused on different values, perhaps more sustainable, more connected to organic materials and natural cycles. Picture their advanced textile production, cotton cultivation that supplied the entire civilization, spinning and weaving techniques that created fabrics of remarkable quality, geometric patterns that may have encoded information, like the later Inca Quipu system. Beauty and data woven together in threads that connected mountain valleys to coastal cities. Their architecture reveals deep astronomical knowledge, pyramids aligned with cardinal directions and celestial events, ceremonial platforms oriented toward solstice sunrises. The careful positioning suggests priest astronomers who tracked seasonal changes, essential knowledge for desert agriculture dependent on river flooding and brief growing seasons. Feel their connection to the sacred geography of Peru. Sites positioned to honor mountain spirits, river sources, and ocean deities. The entire landscape transformed into a spiritual map, where human settlements reflected cosmic order. Cities as earthly mirrors of celestial patterns, architecture harmonizing with natural forces. Breathe in their remarkable longevity. This civilization flourished for nearly 2,000 years, longer than many better-known cultures. Their success came through adaptation rather than conquest, sustainability rather than expansion. Working with desert conditions instead of fighting them, creating abundance through cooperation with harsh but predictable environments. Picture their trade networks spanning the Andes, coastal communities exchanging fish and seaweed for highland products. Cotton traveling to mountain communities in return for potatoes and quinoa. Stone tools carved from highland materials reaching coastal workshops. An economy based on reciprocity and mutual dependence. Their religious practices centered on fire ceremonies. Hearths built into pyramid platforms where offerings burned continuously. The smoke carrying prayers skyward, connecting earth to heaven through sacred flames. Imagine pilgrims climbing pyramid steps, carrying offerings to altars where fire transformed material gifts into spiritual communication. The civilization's decline remains mysterious. Climate change may have altered river patterns, making irrigation difficult. Or perhaps social changes led people toward different ways of life. The abandonment was gradual and peaceful, structures left intact, no signs of warfare or catastrophe. Like a meditation ending naturally. When archaeologists first recognized Norte Chico sites in the 1990s, they discovered a civilization that challenged assumptions about early urban development. Complex society without pottery, monumental architecture without metal tools. Large populations sustained without apparent warfare. Proving that civilization can take many forms. The sites continue yielding secrets. Textiles preserved in the dry climate, architectural details that revealed construction techniques. Evidence of long-distance trade, sophisticated agriculture, and complex social organization. Each discovery adding depth to our understanding of humanity's diverse approaches to civilization. Recent excavations reveal the extent of their achievement. Over 150 sites identified, population estimates reaching 20,000 people. Urban planning that integrated residential, ceremonial, and agricultural areas? A forgotten civilization that may have been one of the world's first experiments in sustainable urban living. Let the desert wisdom of Norte Chico settle over you now. Feel the patient endurance required to make deserts bloom, the collective vision needed to build pyramids grain by grain, the deep understanding of natural cycles that sustained abundance in a barren wasteland. Breathe slowly, and let the ancient trade winds carry you toward our next hidden civilization, drifting like coastal mist across landscapes where human dreams took unexpected forms. Chapter 18. The Mochi. Warriors of the desert. We return now to Peru's northern coastal desert, where between 100 and 700 CE, the Mochi civilization flourished along river valleys that cut like green ribbons through endless sand. Feel yourself approaching their realm, where massive adobe pyramids rise from the desert floor like monuments to the sun, their ancient surfaces glowing amber in the eternal twilight of memory. Let your breathing flow like the desert winds that shape this land, warm and constant. The air carries the salt tang of the nearby Pacific, mixed with the earthy scent of irrigated fields. Somewhere in the distance, waves crash against clifftops, while inland, the gentle sound of water flowing through ancient canals continues the work of desert agriculture. Picture the magnificent Huacas del Sol y de la Luna, the temples of the sun and moon. Built from over 140 million adobe bricks, each one stamped with the mark of the community that made it. These massive structures required generations to complete, yet their construction speaks of voluntary cooperation, entire villages contributing to monuments that honored their gods and celebrated their shared identity. Walk slowly through their vibrant ceremonial spaces, walls covered in painted murals that still blaze with color after 15 centuries. Processions of warriors, priests, and mythical beings dance across adobe surfaces, painted in red, white, yellow, and blue pigments that seem to glow with inner fire. Each image telling stories of cosmic battles between order and chaos. Breathe in their mastery of desert survival. The Mochi transformed one of the world's most arid regions into a garden. Their irrigation networks channeled river water across hundreds of miles, creating oases where cotton, beans, peppers, and corn flow. Yurisht. Imagine the gentle sound of water running through clay channels, life flowing through engineered streams that made the desert bloom. Picture their remarkable ceramic artistry, portrait vessels so realistic they seem ready to speak, Faces of individuals captured with such precision that archaeologists can identify specific people across multiple pottery pieces. These weren't just containers but biographical records, ceramic libraries preserving the faces and stories of people who lived 2,000 years ago. Feel yourself in their workshops, where master potters shaped clay with techniques that have never been surpassed. Stirrup spout vessels of impossible delicacy, pottery that depicts every aspect of Mochi life, from elaborate ceremonies to intimate domestic scenes. The gentle sounds of wheels spinning, hands shaping wet clay into objects of functional beauty. Breathe deeply as you contemplate their sophisticated metallurgy. Gold worked into elaborate headdresses, nose ornaments, and ceremonial weapons. Silver alloyed with copper to create tools of exceptional strength. Bronze bells that rang during religious ceremonies. The soft gleam of precious metals transformed by fire and skill into objects worthy of gods and kings. Picture the elaborate costumes revealed in royal tombs. The Lord of Sipan, buried with gold and turquoise regalia of breathtaking complexity. Feathered headdresses, golden peanut ornaments, textiles woven with threads of precious metal. Each burial a window into ceremonies we can barely imagine, where earthly rulers dressed as divine beings. Their art reveals a complex spiritual world, mythical beings with human and animal characteristics. The decapitator god, fierce yet necessary, maintaining cosmic balance through ritual sacrifice. Anthropomorphic sea creatures, mountain spirits, desert demons. A pantheon that reflected their environment's beauty and danger. Feel the rhythm of their ceremonial calendar. Festivals timed to river flooding, coastal upwelling, and seasonal changes. Elaborate processions where participants wore masks and costumes representing mythical beings. The sound of conch shell trumpets echoing across desert valleys. Communities united in celebration of natural cycles that sustained life. Breathe in their remarkable textile traditions. Cotton and alpaca wool woven into fabrics of extraordinary complexity. Geometric patterns that encoded astronomical information. Tapestries showing narrative scenes with hundreds of figures. Colors derived from desert plants, coastal shells, and highland minerals. Each textile a masterpiece requiring months of patient work. Picture their advanced understanding of ocean currents. The Mochi were master fishermen and navigators, using reed boats to venture far into Pacific waters, following seasonal migrations of anchovies and sardines. Their pottery shows detailed knowledge of marine life, from tiny shellfish to massive whales. Art celebrating the ocean's abundance. Their society was hierarchical but not oppressive. Elite burials show great wealth, but common graves reveal that ordinary people also enjoyed prosperity. Elaborate pottery, fine textiles, and jewelry found in modest tombs, suggesting a civilization that shared its abundance, where artistic beauty wasn't reserved only for rulers. Feel their deep connection to El Niño cycles, the periodic disruption of Pacific currents that brought both blessing and curse. Flooding that enriched agricultural soils but destroyed irrigation systems. The Mochi developed strategies for surviving these climate extremes, building flexible societies that could adapt to environmental change. Breathe slowly as you contemplate their gradual transformation. Around 700 CE, climate changes and political shifts led to cultural evolution rather than collapse. Mochi artistic traditions merged with new influences, becoming part of later Peruvian civilizations. Their techniques and knowledge flowing like desert rivers into future cultures. Recent archaeological discoveries continue to amaze. The Lady of Sao, a female ruler buried with elaborate tattoos and precious grave goods, proving that Mochi society included powerful women leaders. Ceremonial sites that reveal the complexity of their religious practices. Each find adding depth to our understanding of their sophisticated culture. Their pottery remains their greatest legacy. Thousands of vessels preserved in museums worldwide, each one a window into daily life, spiritual beliefs, and artistic vision. These ceramic masterpieces speak across centuries, showing us faces of people who lived, loved, and created beauty in one of the world's most challenging environments. Let the desert artistry of the Mochi embrace you now. Feel the warmth of adobe walls that sheltered communities for centuries, the patient skill required to transform clay into eternal art, the deep understanding of natural cycles that sustained abundance in a barren wasteland. Breathe slowly, and let the ancient rhythms of desert and ocean carry you forward, toward our next journey through the timeless landscapes of human creativity. Chapter 19. Dilmun. The pearl of the Gulf. We drift now across the azure waters of the Arabian Gulf, to the pearl-diving archipelago of ancient Bahrain, where between 2100 and 1750 BCE, the legendary civilization of Dilmun flourished as the sacred crossroads of the ancient world. Feel yourself approaching these blessed islands, where Mesopotamian texts spoke of an earthly paradise, a land of immortality where death and sickness were unknown. Let your breathing flow like gentle tidal currents, rhythmic and eternal. The air carries the warm salt scent of shallow seas, mixed with the fragrance of date palms and frankincense. Pearl divers surface with soft splashes, their breathing synchronized with waves that have lapped these shores for millennia. Creating a natural meditation on the rhythm of sea and sky, picture Dilmun at its magnificent peak, when these islands served as the crucial link between Mesopotamian cities and the Indus Valley. Ships from Ur and Babylon arriving with silver and textiles, vessels from Harappa bringing precious stones and ivory, all converging on harbors where merchants spoke a dozen languages, creating the ancient world's most cosmopolitan trading hub. Walk slowly through the bustling port of Qa'at al-Bahrain, where massive stone walls protected warehouses filled with treasures from 3 continents. Copper from Oman, pearls from local waters, gold from distant Arabia. The gentle sounds of ships being loaded, merchants bargaining in the shade of palm trees, children playing between stacks of amphora containing precious oils. Breathe in the sacred atmosphere that made Dilmun legendary. Ancient Sumerian texts describe this as the place where Utnapishtim, survivor of the Great Flood, was granted immortality. Where Enki, god of fresh water, created springs that never failed. The islands blessed with artesian wells that bubbled pure water from deep underground, life-giving streams flowing in the midst of the salt sea. Picture their remarkable pearl diving traditions. Divers descending to oyster beds in the crystal-clear waters, holding their breath while they gathered the gems that would adorn kings and queens across the ancient world. The soft glow of pearls by lamplight, as merchants sorted treasures that seemed to capture moonbeams. Each pearl a small miracle formed in ocean depths. Feel yourself in their temple complexes, where priests performed rituals honoring Enki and Ninhursag, the divine couple who ruled this sacred realm. Circular altars where incense burned continuously, creating fragrant clouds that carried prayers toward heaven. The gentle chanting of hymns in Sumerian, Akkadian, and local dialects, voices blending like harmonious winds. Breathe deeply as you contemplate their sophisticated water management. Despite being surrounded by the sea, fresh water was precious on these desert islands. The Dilmunites carefully maintained their natural springs, built cisterns to collect rainwater, created distribution systems that supplied homes and temples. Engineering that worked with rather than against the natural hydrology. Picture the royal tombs that dot the landscape. Over 100,000 burial mounds creating one of the world's largest necropoli. Each grave carefully oriented, containing pottery, weapons, and personal ornaments. The dead honored with grave goods that speak of belief in afterlife journeys. Burial practices that influenced civilizations throughout the Gulf region. Their stamped seals remain masterpieces of miniature art. Circular seals carved with mythical animals, sacred trees, and cuneiform inscriptions. Each one unique, used to mark trade goods and authenticate documents. These tiny sculptures show artistic sophistication rivaling any ancient civilization. Beauty created at the intersection of art and commerce. Feel the rhythm of seasonal trade. During favorable monsoons, ships arrived from India and Pakistan, During calmer periods, vessels from Mesopotamia and Arabia, the entire civilization pulsing with the cycles of wind and weather. Communities whose prosperity depended on understanding natural patterns and timing their activities accordingly. Breathe in their remarkable longevity as a civilization. For over 1,000 years, Dilmun maintained its position as the Gulf's premier trading center, adapting to political changes in Mesopotamia, surviving climate variations, maintaining independence through diplomatic skill rather than military power. A small civilization that thrived through intelligence and cooperation. Picture their daily life on these blessed islands. Families living in houses built around courtyards, where date palms provided shade and fruit. Gardens where vegetables grew in soil enriched by compost and careful irrigation. Children learning to swim in lagoons where their ancestors had gathered pearls for generations. Life intimately connected to sea and sky. Their religious beliefs blended Mesopotamian traditions with local practices. Temples dedicated to familiar gods, but adapted to island life. Rituals that honored both the life-giving springs and the pearl-rich seas. A spirituality that celebrated the unique geography of their homeland, where fresh water and salt water, earth and sea, mortal and divine, met in perfect harmony. The civilization's gradual decline came as trade routes shifted. New maritime technologies allowed ships to sail directly between distant ports, bypassing traditional intermediaries. The rise of other Gulf centers, changes in regional politics, all contributing to Dilmun's slow fade from prominence. Like tide retreating, revealing treasures on the shore. When Alexander the Great conquered the region, he found Dilmun still functioning, though diminished from its golden age. Greek writers described the islands as still blessed with fresh water springs, still home to skilled pearl divers. Still maintaining echoes of their legendary status as an earthly paradise. Modern Bahrain sits atop ancient Dilmun. Skyscrapers rising near archaeological sites. Contemporary pearl diving continuing traditions that stretch back 4 millennia. The artesian springs still flow, though now channeled through modern systems. The islands maintaining their role as a crossroads, now for oil rather than copper, finance rather than frankincense. Let the pearl-bright waters of ancient Dilmun embrace you now. Feel the gentle rocking of boats on calm seas. The treasure house security of islands blessed with fresh water, the timeless rhythm of tides that connect all shores. Prosperity flowing like water from deep springs of cooperation and wisdom. Breathe slowly, and let the eternal currents of the Gulf carry you toward our final ancient destination, drifting like pearls of memory across waters that connect L lands. Chapter 20. Tripilia. The culture that burned its cities. We journey now to the fertile steppes of Ukraine, where ancient rivers wind through endless grasslands beneath vast European skies. Here, between 5400 and 2700 BCE, the enigmatic Tripilia culture created some of Europe's largest prehistoric settlements, then deliberately burned them to the ground every few generations. Feel yourself approaching these ghost cities, where controlled fires transformed homes into hardened pottery, preserving their memory in baked clay and ash. Let your breathing flow like grass waves rolling across the steppes, endless and hypnotic. The air carries the sweet scent of wildflowers, poppies and cornflowers painting the meadows in brilliant colors. Larks sing high overhead, their melodies carried on winds that have swept these plains for millennia. The silence between songs holds the memory of ancient flames. Picture the massive settlement of Talionki at its peak, home to 15,000 people, covering over 1,000 acres. One of the largest cities in the ancient world. Concentric rings of houses arranged in perfect spirals, each dwelling crafted from wood, clay, and thatch. The geometric precision visible only from above, suggesting a culture that thought in cosmic patterns. Walk slowly through their remarkable neighborhoods, where 2-story houses lined earthen streets. Each home containing multiple rooms, storage areas, workshops, and shrines. Painted pottery decorating every surface, geometric designs in red and black that seem to dance in firelight. The gentle sounds of daily life, looms clicking, children laughing, elders sharing stories around communal hearths. Breathe in the mystery of their planned destruction. Every 60 to 80 years, the entire community would systematically burn their city. Not in warfare or accident, but as deliberate ritual. Fires carefully controlled to harden the clay walls, preserving house foundations for archaeologists to discover millennia later. Imagine the ceremony. Families carrying possessions to safety, then watching their homes transform through purifying flames. Picture their sophisticated pottery traditions. Elaborate vessels decorated with spirals, meanders, and abstract figures. Some pots standing over 3 feet tall, painted with designs that may represent cosmic maps, ancestral spirits, or agricultural cycles. Each piece fired to perfection, creating ceramics that rival any ancient civilization. Beauty integrated into every aspect of daily use. Feel yourself in their temple houses, special buildings larger than ordinary dwellings, containing altars, ritual objects, and elaborate decorations. Female figurines suggesting goddess worship. Bull heads indicating fertility rituals. These sacred spaces scattered throughout neighborhoods, religion woven into the fabric of community life rather than segregated in distant temples. Breathe deeply as you contemplate their advanced agriculture. The Tripilians were among Europe's first farmers, cultivating wheat, barley, and legumes on the fertile black soil of Ukraine. Their settlements positioned near rivers, but on elevated ground safe from flooding. Granaries storing surplus crops, supporting populations larger than most contemporary civilizations. Picture their remarkable social organization. Cities of unprecedented size, yet showing no evidence of social hierarchy. No palaces, no elite burials, no weapons of war. Instead, evidence suggests egalitarian communities where decisions were made collectively, resources shared fairly, conflicts resolved through cooperation rather than coercion. Their artistic achievement extends beyond pottery. Clay models of houses, complete with miniature furniture and decorations. These may have served as architects' plans, ritual objects, or children's toys. Each tiny building perfect in detail, showing the same spiral layouts found in actual settlements. Art preserving memory across generations. Feel the rhythm of their mysterious cycles. Building magnificent cities, living in prosperity for generations, then ceremonially destroying everything and starting anew. This pattern repeated across hundreds of settlements, suggesting deep spiritual beliefs about renewal, death, and rebirth. Civilization as seasonal cycle rather than permanent accumulation. Breathe in their connection to cosmic patterns. Settlement layouts that mirror astronomical observations. Concentric circles that may represent celestial movements. Pottery designs that echo the spirals found in nature, from shells to galaxies. A culture attuned to universal patterns, expressing cosmic harmony through urban planning and artistic design. Picture their peaceful expansion across Eastern Europe. Tripilian settlements spreading from the Carpathians to the Dnieper River. Not through conquest but migration. Each new community maintaining similar architecture, pottery styles, and burning rituals. Cultural continuity preserved across vast distances and long periods. Their technology included some of Europe's earliest copper working. Simple tools and ornaments crafted from metal. But they remained primarily a Neolithic culture, using stone tools, wooden implements, and ceramic containers. Their achievements came through social organization rather than technological advancement, proving that civilization takes many forms. The culture's end came gradually, around 2700 BCE. Climate change may have made agriculture difficult. Population pressure perhaps strained resources. Or maybe social changes led to new ways of living. The final settlements show signs of external pressure, different pottery styles, new burial practices, suggesting cultural transformation rather than collapse. When archaeologists first discovered Tripilian sites, They found layers of burned clay preserving house foundations with startling clarity. The destructive fires had become preserva tion, creating archaeological treasures that reveal daily life in unprecedented detail. Pottery, tools, house plans, even impressions of wooden beams. All preserved by ceremonial flames. Recent discoveries continue to amaze. Satellite imagery revealing the full extent of their settlements. Aerial photography showing spiral city plans invisible from ground level. Each new site adding to understanding of Europe's largest prehistoric civilization. A culture that challenged assumptions about ancient social organization. The tradition of renewal through destruction speaks to profound spiritual insights. Understanding that clinging to material forms creates stagnation. That periodic clearing makes space for growth. That destruction and creation are partners in an eternal dance. Wisdom preserved in ash and fired clay, in the memory of deliberate flames. Let the steppe winds of ancient Tripolia carry you toward rest. Feel the vast openness of grassland horizons, the patient rhythm of seasonal cycles, the deep wisdom of cultures that knew when to hold on, and when to let go. Renewal through release, preservation through transformation. Breathe slowly, and let the eternal flames of memory warm you, as our journey through 20 lost civilizations draws gently toward peaceful conclusion. And so our journey through time draws gently to its close. We have wandered together through 20 lost civilizations, each one a testament to humanity's endless capacity for creation, adaptation, and wonder. Feel yourself floating peacefully above the landscapes of memory, where all these ancient worlds exist simultaneously in the eternal present of dreams. From Göbekli Tepe's sacred circles, humanity's first temple rising from Anatolian hills, to Tripolia's spiral cities that renewed themselves through ceremonial flames, we have witnessed the remarkable diversity of human civilization. Each culture finding its own path, its own solutions, its own expressions of beauty and meaning. We drifted through Tartessos, the silver kingdom that chose mystery over conquest, and floated beneath Mediterranean waters to explore Thonis Heraclean, where temples sleep peacefully in the sea's embrace. We climbed to Petra's rose-red facades carved from living stone, and descended into Derinkuju's underground refuge, where entire communities found safety in the earth's protective embrace. In Mesopotamia's Fertile Crescent, we walked among Sumer's first cities, where writing and wheels, mathematics and music were born. We traveled to the Indus Valley's perfectly planned settlements, where prosperity flowed through cooperation rather than conquest. In the Amazon's green depths, we discovered cities that lived as partners with the forest, taking only what they needed, giving back more than they consumed. Our path led us across vast oceans to Rapa Nui, where stone watchers maintain their eternal vigil, and to ancient America's forgotten metropolis at Cahokia, where earthen mounds still rise from prairie grasslands. We explored Catalhoyuk's rooftop highways, where neighbors literally supported each other, and marveled at Carol Soup's peaceful pyramids, built without warfare or oppression. From Axum's towering obelisks in Ethiopian highlands, to Norte Chico's desert cities that made wasteland bloom, we witnessed humanity's remarkable adaptability. In Cambodia's jungles, Angkor's temples dance with growing trees in stone and wood partnership, while China's Sangxingdui revealed bronze artistry that defies conventional understanding. High in Bolivia's mountains, Tiwanaku's megalithic builders achieved precision that challenges modern engineering. The Mochi transformed Peru's coastal desert into gardens, creating ceramic masterpieces that preserve individual faces across millennia. In Bahrain's pearl-bright waters, Dilmun served as the ancient world's crossroads, where civilizations met in peaceful commerce. Let your breathing become slower now, deeper, more relaxed, as you contemplate the profound lessons these lost worlds offer. Each civilization faced challenges, environmental changes, social pressures, resource limitations. Yet they responded with creativity rather than despair, innovation rather than destruction, cooperation rather than conquest. Some chose to disappear rather than be conquered, like Tartessos sailing into Atlantic mystery. Others transformed gradually, their wisdom flowing into successor cultures like rivers joining the sea. Still others left monuments so enduring they seem eternal, stone prayers that continue speaking across millennia. Feel yourself sinking deeper into peaceful rest. These 20 civilizations remind us that there are countless ways to be human, countless approaches to the challenges of survival and meaning. Some built with stone that lasts forever. Others created beauty in wood and fiber that returned gently to the earth. Some reached toward the stars with astronomical precision. Others dove deep into the earth's protective embrace. What unites them all is the human spirit, the capacity to see possibility where others see only limitation, to create beauty in harsh environments, to work together for purposes larger than individual survival, to leave legacies of wonder for future generations to discover and admire. Let these images blend now in your peaceful mind. Rose-colored facades and bronze masks, underground cities and floating gardens, spiral settlements and pyramid temples, all dissolving into a gentle tapestry of human achievement. Dreams within dreams, civilizations within consciousness, all part of the vast human story that continues through you. Your breathing is becoming slower still, deeper, more peaceful. Feel yourself supported by the accumulated wisdom of all these cultures. Their innovations and insights, their art and architecture, their understanding of natural cycles and cosmic patterns. All flowing together like converging rivers, creating a vast ocean of human knowledge and experience. These civilizations live on not just in archaeological sites, but in the creativity they inspire, the questions they raise, the possibilities they suggest. Each discovery reminds us that human potential is vast, that civilizations can take forms we've never imagined, that the future holds infinite possible. It is for beauty and wonder. As you drift deeper into sleep, carry with you the peaceful essence of these ancient worlds. The patience of Indus Valley planners, the artistic vision of Sangxingdui bronze workers, the ecological wisdom of Amazon city builders, the astronomical knowledge of Tiwanaku priests. All settling into your dreams like gentle rain on fertile soil. Feel the support of stone foundations, the protection of underground chambers, the expansiveness of prairie horizons, the mystery of jungle-wrapped temples. All these landscapes of memory cradling you in perfect safety, ancient wisdom surrounding you like a warm blanket, protecting your rest with the accumulated peace of 20 civilizations. Let your mind become like Lake Titicaca's still waters, reflecting sky and mountains with perfect clarity. Or like the pearl-bright depths where Dillman's divers gathered treasures. Or like the rose-colored stone of Petra, glowing softly in eternal twilight. All thoughts settling into the deepest tranquility. These lost civilizations found their way to peace. Some through the sea's gentle embrace, others through the forest's patient reclaiming, still others through the earth's protective burial. All eventually finding the rest that comes to every human creation. The same peaceful rest that comes to you now. Your breathing is barely audible now, like wind through Angkor's ancient stones, like water flowing through Tiwanaku's sacred channels, like the eternal silence that surrounds Easter Island's watching statues. Deeper and deeper into the timeless realm where all dreams converge, where all civilizations meet in perfect understanding. Sleep now, supported by the wisdom of ages, protected by the love that built temples and pyramids, surrounded by the beauty that transformed desert into garden, stone into art, communities into civilizations. Rest in the peace that outlasts empires, the tranquility that remains when the last pyramid crumbles and the final temple falls. 20 ancient worlds have shared their secrets with you tonight, their builders long at rest, their stones worn smooth by time, their mysteries preserved in the amber of memory. All watching over your peaceful sleep with the benevolent presence of ancestors who faced every challenge with courage, creativity, and hope. Good night.